Most people who hate their birthdays don't actually hate their birthdays. They hate what birthdays make them feel. That quiet unease when someone makes a fuss. That urge to wave it off. Oh, it's really not a big deal. Please don't. If that's you, stay with me. Because this isn't about birthdays at all. It's 11:58 p.m. Someone you love has been texting you all day. A balloon emoji. A cake. Don't forget big day tomorrow. And you're lying there in the dark, watching the clock roll over to midnight. And something goes quiet in you. Not dread, exactly. Just stillness. Like some part of you already knows this night won't feel the way it's supposed to. Maybe you've told yourself it's fine. You're just private. Low maintenance. Not a big birthday person. But here's what nobody tells you. When you can't let yourself be celebrated, you're probably not being humble. More often than not, you're someone who learned very early that being seen was dangerous, or disappointing, or both. That's what this is actually about. A researcher named Ed Tronick spent years studying something called the still face experiment. Simple setup. A mother interacts warmly with her infant. Then, on cue, she goes blank, expressionless, stops responding entirely. Within seconds, the baby tries everything, reaching, pointing, smiling, vocalizing anything to get the connection back. When nothing works, the baby eventually turns away, collapses inward, shuts down. The experiment has been replicated hundreds of times, and it shows something fundamental. You are wired to need attunement, to need someone to see you and reflect that back. When that mirror goes blank consistently, unpredictably you stop expecting it, and then you stop asking. Not because you stopped needing, because you stopped believing it would work. Now picture that same dynamic, stretched across years. Not one blank face in a lab. A parent who was always exhausted, or absent, or critical. A home where your needs felt like an inconvenience. Picture a kid who spent all of his 8th birthday watching the door. His mom had promised a cake, nothing fancy, just the two of them. By 9 p.m., the food was cold, and she was in the other room, laughing at something that had nothing to do with him. He didn't cry. He just quietly put his plate in the sink and told himself it didn't matter. That was the year he stopped asking. Maybe you know that feeling. Not the birthday specifically, but that particular moment when you decided, without words, that wanting things out loud wasn't worth it. That the hope hurt more than the silence. His brain filed that night away, not as a memory, as a rule. And your brain did something similar. Psychologists call it avoidant attachment, but in plain terms, you learned that needing things out loud was risky. So you stopped. And it worked for a while. You closed the gap between what you hoped for and what you got by eliminating the hope entirely. The problem is that strategy doesn't stay in the past. It follows you into your friendships, your relationships. Every time someone tries to make a moment about you and you deflect, "Oh, it's just a Tuesday," you're running the same old code. Protecting yourself from a disappointment that might never even come. The wound is still doing its job. And it's also blocking the thing that could actually help. And it didn't start with you. Think about your grandparents' generation, people who survived genuine scarcity. There's a woman at the table, cutting the cake. She gives everyone else the full slice, then takes the smallest piece for herself and says she's not that hungry. It wasn't modesty. It was decades of making herself smaller so others could have more. Her children grew up watching that, and they passed it down, not the hunger, but the instinct. To want quietly, to treat your own needs as optional, to feel almost guilty when someone makes a fuss over you. That tightening in your chest when someone tries to do something just for you, it came from somewhere. It moved through people before it landed in you. The wound didn't start with you, but it can end with you. Here's what needs to be said out loud. What you did was smart. A child who learns not to need things isn't broken, they're resourceful. That shutdown wasn't weakness. It was the most intelligent response available at the time. But here's what it costs you now. Self-sufficiency that started as survival can quietly become isolation. The people who love you aren't the ones who failed you, but they're reaching through the same wall, and you might not even know the wall is there. There's a question underneath all of this, one you've probably never let yourself finish. If I let myself be celebrated, what am I admitting I needed all along? Everything. The cake, the call, the fuss, all of it. You'd be saying the kid who never got it deserved it. That you weren't too much. That you weren't an inconvenience. That you mattered. So here's what I want you to try. Just one thing. The next time someone says happy birthday, don't say, "Oh, it's no big deal." Don't deflect. Don't explain. Just say, "Thank you." That's it. That's the whole exercise. 2 words. Let them land. Notice what it costs you. Because here's the thing about that boy, he thought the door was locked from the outside. He thought silence meant he wasn't worth the noise. He didn't know the door was never locked at all. He just never tried knocking from the inside. Go back to that room. 11:58 p.m. The texts. The balloon emoji. Someone who loves you, trying to reach you through the dark. That stillness you feel isn't indifference. It's a door. And midnight lasts exactly 1 second. Then it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, someone wants to make the day yours. The boy put his plate in the sink and decided it didn't matter. You don't have to. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. How do you feel on your birthdays? Subscribe if you want to keep exploring these quiet parts of ourselves together. I'll see you in the next one.